Hello random people on the internet, I'm Elspeth and welcome to my booktube channel. This week I have read 2 books. If you have watched my previous weekly wrap-ups, which you really don't need to, you will know that I have been reading a lot more than that before this week, but there is a reason why I only read 2 books this week, and that's basically that I read too much for myself, I guess. Some people read more than that and they still get enjoyment out of the books, but I guess I had been putting a bit of pressure on myself to read a lot, which is really unnecessary since I read for fun. And I think I actually enjoy taking my time reading books instead of rushing through them, so that's why. I hope that makes sense, I guess, and in light of that I'm going to move my weekly wrap-ups to be bi-weekly wrap-ups. Pun not intended, but I notice it now. So I'm going to do the wrap-ups every other week. I'm still going to be reading the same amount. I'm going to put about 5 books in each, but it will be every other week, and I'll be creating some other content on the other week of the every other week, if that makes sense. Enough of me talking about myself. One of the books I read was an ebook, and it was, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it was The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. It's basically about society and dragons, and that's the main thing. It's basically about the fact that these dragons are coming, nobody quite knows when, and in different sides of the world there are different views on dragons, and there's also political and personal aspects delved into it, which was good. I'm not sure whether to give it a 5 out of 7 or a 6 out of 7. I think I'm having the same problem here as I used to have between not figuring out whether I should give something a 4-star or a 5-star, but I think I'm going to give it a 5 out of 7, which is equivalent to a 4-star. So yeah, that was good. The next book that I read, which I'm quite happy about reading, I loved it. I gave it a 7 out of 7. It's The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I just loved it. It's not the kind of book I usually read, but I still loved it. Through the character of Evelyn, I've just felt so seen, I guess, because I know it may sound strange, but I have never actually read about a character who is bisexual before. Never. And I felt really seen, and it just made me feel really happy that a popular book put on for a book club by some of my favourite booktubers would be about someone who identifies the same way as me, which is really nice. And I just felt so nice knowing that people like this book, and I just really like the main character. If you did not know, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is about someone called Evelyn Hugo and her journey through her relationships across her life. Of course, she has had 7 husbands, but she is also got a love interest who she stays with throughout all of those husbands, and it's a girl, which made me feel happy. It also delves into the idea of identity, not just in sexuality, but also in like nationality and race, because Evelyn Hugo is, I believe she is mixed. She is quite white passing, but she is a person of colour, and she has separated herself quite vastly from her the culture of her family, and it was quite interesting to see that in her interaction with Louisa, who works for Evelyn Hugo, especially when she like speaks Spanish to say something not very nice about Evelyn, and she says in Spanish, "I understand you," which I found quite funny. But yeah, I really loved it. It's really interesting read, and it also goes quite in depth about how unaccepting Hollywood is and was, and how her reputation can be damaged so badly if people had known about her truth. And yet Evelyn was so unbothered by what people think of her by the end. It's just a really nice character development. As I said earlier on in the video, I don't think I would have taken that much out of the book and resonated as much with the characters if I had raced through that, like books that I have read previously. So I really enjoyed reading that book a bit slower than usual. So I think I'm going to continue doing that going ahead. That's all I have for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, yay! If you didn't, I'm sorry, and I will see you at some point for another video. Bye!